And what I thought of, for today is it's going to be more discussion based. I want to share a few resources with you and things I've learned over the last couple of weeks, and then we'll just have a discussion. I sent you these links earlier today. I don't know if you received them.
Wendy, are you going to post these links, or is Camille gonna post them too, like you did last time?
Yeah, we could certainly do that. You mean so that they're up on a screen share?
I can put them in the chat right now.
Okay, yeah. That'd be very helpful. So then it could copy and paste them in, and we could use them.
When you're talking, I'm going to throw them in the chat.
Pull it up. Great. Yeah, I thought it would be helpful to, I'm pulling it up myself, to have them in front of you as we talk, just because they're wonderful resources. The first one that I sent is from the Penn State University Extension. We are. So Al's son and my son are roommates, which is very cool.
We just need to go into our email that you sent us, and we can just open that.
Yep, if you click on yeah. And so the first link is to a webinar. It'll just bring you to the webinar, and it's not something that you'll want to view now, but it's there for the sharing. I learned about this through the second link, which we're going to get to in a minute, and happened to just at the last minute learn about this webinar, which started on Tuesday of this week, and I signed up Monday night. And it's a 10-week course basically on like everything you want to know about growing food and gardening. It's really comprehensive. It's going to cover seed starting and site selection, mulching, soil, all kinds of basic things, and then things that are less basic, but that they're going to really lay out to make it very user-friendly for folks who are trying to do this. The title of the webinar series, which I love, is Victory Gardens Revisited, which, we talked about that last time, being like, we're seeing that this is coming back. And since we were last together, I've seen so much on Victory Gardens coming back. It's just in the press. The more you look, it's just article after article. And people have caught on very, very quickly, this whole idea and notion of the need to be self-reliant, the desire to be more self-reliant, to feel more secure in our food system and our ability to sustain ourselves is really, it's just spreading. I don't want to say like, that cliche, spreading like wildfire. I can't use that anymore. I can't say that anymore because it's not a saying I can use anymore after what we're witnessing in the world. But you get it. It's really become a very widespread mindset, which is great. So that is something I'm going to share with you weekly. I'll just send you the link in the email as I receive them. So this first week's webinar you can view. Just click on that link. It should take you right to it. And you can view it. It's an hour. It's really concise. It's basically a PowerPoint with just information shared by the speaker. And it's really very thorough. So I'll just share that with you weekly so you can take advantage of it. I was really grateful to them when I reached out and asked about whether I could get permission to share it. And they were very willing. This is something they're doing because they realize that there's a need, and I think they're more than happy for it to reach as many people as possible with the goal of helping people to be able to do this. So that's the first link that's there for you, and I'll just again forward those weekly as the webinar unfolds. And the second link was an incredibly exciting discovery, and that's the Coop Gardens, the Cooperative Gardening Commission, which I sent you. And so this is, I want to, I'm just thinking, Camille, should I screen share the website to talk about it, or what do you think?
You're more than welcome to.
What's that?
Screen share?
Can you repeat that?
You know how to screen share?
I do, I think.
Let me make you a co-host.
Yeah, let me just tell you a little bit about it first. So yeah, thank you, Al, for that note that Victory Gardens started in World War I. Last week we were talking about it, and I wasn't sure which war, and somebody said World War II, and I learned through actually the Penn State webinar that it was World War I in 17. So thanks for that.
Yeah, that was very interesting. After we had our thing, they actually had a CBS Sunday morning show did it on Victory Gardens. They did a segment on it.
I saw the link to
Yeah.
on this website I'm going to talk to you about, but I didn't watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was really excellent. They said that actually in New York City, people had Victory Gardens still in the city in the 1950s. So
Right.
good stuff.
They basically dug up their lawns and grew
Right.
food everywhere, and schools too. They just
Yes.
schoolyards and any
Yes.
place you could find to grow food, which is sort of what we're trying to get back to now.
Yep. Yep. Full circle.
Exactly. So
You guys are going into spring, aren't you? So it makes a lot of sense, whereas we're going into winter. So
that's true. That's right. We're flipped. The different.
But Rochelle, in this webinar, they talk about how you can grow things indoors.
oh yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah. No, so it's excellent the way they go through everything.
Yeah, I've done lots of gardening, so
Okay.
I've done
Just
heaps
throwing it out there.
in greenhouses and yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's my dream.
So I was kind of interested, like what we were coming together for, like so.
Jay?
Seeing as I kind of know quite a lot about gardening, so I was sort of like, what was the purpose of us coming together?
So this was a follow-up.
About gardening.
Forgive me, because last week is a blur. I don't know about you, but time feels like it's all compressing, and it's hard to just kind of separate out. So
Totally.
Were you here for the entire session last time?
I didn't manage to get to it. I realized I'd missed it. Yeah.
Oh, so you weren't. Oh, because some people left early, so I wasn't sure how much you saw. So you weren't here for the last week's or 2 weeks ago.
No.
Did you view it on the link by any chance? Just so I know what you know, so I can.
No, I didn't. I kind of looked at what the top line was, and which is initially why I'd sort of said yes. And I kind of thought, okay, we're coming together as a group, so
right.
just kind of understanding whether we were sharing our knowledge with each other, what the purpose of the group was for, to make use of our time.
Your time. I totally appreciate why you're asking. And so let me just.
Because I'm like, I could be doing something else because I know all about gardening.
No, I get it. So let me just
growing indoors. I'm really into edible landscapes. Yeah, I've got heaps of connections.
Okay.
So around mulching and yeah.
So I'll give you a really quick recap. Last week it was, basically more presentation focused. I was sharing the idea of community gardening and why now more than ever this is a really important effort that we should be considering given everything that's going on. And it was really meant to be sort of a one-time gathering. And then at the end, during our discussion, it was suggested that we possibly meet on a regular basis, just at least at the beginning, and see how things unfold from there, just to kind of share our knowledge and update ourselves on our progress and, move forward. And, without necessarily any particular expectation about anything, it would just be, this is sort of it's just unfolding as we speak. So we said, okay, we'd meet in 2 weeks, which is today. We'll kind of regroup, check in, and then kind of we'll take it from here. So today is going to be, I think, discussion based. I really want to share a couple of really excellent resources that I think that you might be interested in if you don't already know them, because they do have international reach, or I should say this one particular one has international reach. And then I thought we would just have a discussion about, ideas, questions, and if we want, obviously you have a lot of knowledge to see kind of where that goes. So if you're game and you want to kind of, just hang out for a little bit and see if this is serving you, feel free. And if you feel it's, something that is either repetitive or whatever, I understand. Let me just tell you about this one resource, and we'll start there and you can decide going forward. So I learned about something called the Cooperative Gardens Commission. And this is, bear with me, I'm just gonna see if I can share this screen. Can everybody see that? So Grow Unite. Great.
You see it.
Hi, Christine. If you want to just look over this first paragraph or two, it just gives you a basic overview of it in terms of what it is. It's better to do that than me trying to explain it because I just think it's so concisely worded. And in a moment, I'll tell you a little bit more about what I learned. So from here, give me a thumbs up if you've read it. You good? Okay. From here, I just want to take you to this page. No, sorry. I'm going back to this page. Hang on. Okay, before I go there, any thoughts about what I just shared or questions? Is anybody familiar with the co-op? No, Rochelle, are you? Hang on, you're on mute.
Yeah. I just unmuted me.
Oh,
I just do it so that I don't interfere with the width. Obviously not in the States, but we have community gardens and things here. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've got like bananas from my neighbor.
Nice.
There you go. Here's my bananas.
Oh my gosh.
And so I swapped them with my peers because I had shitloads of, I had loads of peers. So I was just like, yeah, and apples and yeah. So,
Rochelle, can you hold those up again? I missed it. The dog was barking.
Oh my gosh, you have to see this.
They're gorgeous.
What?
And I was expecting a bunch of 6.
Oh my gosh.
I know, that's why I was like, I'm going to show you this because
that's incredible.
Right, we've only been
cool?
successful in getting 2 at a time.
and so he's up the road and it was like, he goes, oh, I've got all these bananas, and he lives on his own. I was like, oh, well, we need bananas. We love bananas. He's like, I'll drop them to your gate. And then last night we were dropping like 20 pears off to his place. If I show you my pear tree is basically broken because it had too many pears on it this year.
Anybody else have a hankering to move to New Zealand right about now? Just saying.
Am I selling it?
Yes, sold it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So all right. So you are well connected there, which is great. We're less connected here, and which is why I was so excited when I learned about this commission, which I'm going to go back and share. So
a friend of mine. So we have talking about things like that. A friend of mine does, and there is quite a lot on this on edible landscapes, which is really, really fascinating. So they kind of had an initiative of like planting food in the roundabouts, like it's so for people.
In the middle.
So that they sort of took over, and then fruit trees and things like that, down the streets and stuff. So and then looking at how you can keep doing that everywhere. So for us, it's not that bizarre.
Yeah.
And you do see like hydroponics. Like hydroponics are amazing. We're talking about indoor stuff. You can really, really grow things so easily on your kitchen windowsill. And then the other thing is like herbs are actually a weed. Like a lot of herbs are weeds. So it's worthwhile looking into the different types of herbs that you can grow, or that are easy, that work easily on your soil. because once you get them into the ground, if you can get them to the ground, then they'll grow like weeds, basically.
Right. I always say, right.
So it's like, that's easy gardening. I'm all up for that. Like, you can't stuff it up.
Yeah.
But you add like some herbs to a salad, and it just, parsley loves really wet, it likes wet feet. And so, it's just like, if you throw those things into a salad, you've got amazing ions, and there's just so many things that you can get out of such a small little plant. So when you're looking to boost your, so I've done a lot in nutrient dense food as well. So if you look to how you can just put little bits in that increase the nutrition, is all really helpful too, So, and herbs are amazing for that, because they're just all this stuff.
Yeah, good things come in small packages. I mean, they're small but mighty. And like microgreens, true. Like, I'm starting to grow microgreens, and so it's those little broccoli sprouts that are this big pack more punch in terms of nutrients than if it were to blossom into a head of broccoli, which is incredible. So it has this incredible concentrated nutrition in it that is very easy and very water efficient, because it's just a small tray. And so, right, it's the same idea. And I've always said weeds. Not always. When I realize it, weeds, there's really no such thing as weeds. Weeds are just plants that you either didn't invite into your growing space, or that you don't know the name of. To me, it's just, you call them that one. But every plant, has some purpose to it. Well, that's really, really neat. So
and dandelion, like dandelion are amazing. The roots of dandelion, and it's easy to grow, and then you can make tea, amazing teas, chai teas and stuff, which are really good and warming for your stomach. So
it's like a good liver detox.
So
that's really awesome. By the way, we talked about this last week. Have you ever heard of Todmorden? It's a place in the UK. I'll send you the link, but this is a place where they've converted exactly where you tell about how you grow food in the middle of a we call them rotaries, but a roundabout. What they've done is they've taken over their entire town with growing food. They grow corn in front of the police station, and just like any little area is not considered just wasted space or just nothing space. It's they find a purpose to it. So that's what you're talking about. I think you'd love just learning about what they've done there, because it's what you're talking about. So let me quickly share this. I just want to share this one page with you. Let me see if I can do this again. All right. So this is under education, and it's, if you go to directory, this is all that's here. This is an incredible collection of information. It's just like all in one place. There's so much here, and I'm just scrolling through it quickly, but you can check it out. There's just so much here on how to grow a lot. And hydroponics is also in here. I'm really interested in learning more about it. I don't know a lot about it. I've never done it. Other than growing some plants in water, I've never grown food hydroponically, and I'm very interested in learning more about that. But anyway, this is just a great resource as part of that website. And so I joined this community this past week, and they have what they call working groups, which are, let me go back here one more time, bear with me. Where are the groups? Here we go. Let me share this. So over here, you can see they have different working groups on different subjects. I joined the education group because that's my field. But you can join subcommittees as part of this commission, and everybody is working basically on this effort, this grow food everywhere, expand community gardens far and wide. And it was amazing to find this community of people who are doing this work, because you can't really go it alone. It's just too hard, and you wouldn't want to. And so here's just an incredible supportive network of like-minded individuals who we can share resources and support with, in addition to moving our ideas forward. So I wanted to just let you know about it, because if you're interested in learning more about, or if you're interested in becoming involved and learning more from those who are participating, I just think it's an incredible resource, and I wanted to put that out there. So one of the resources I just checked out was by a woman named, I forget her last name, her name is Bree. Her website is Bree Grows, which is in that link of directories. And it's funny because she was writing just about how she has this little, she has what she calls a foodscape, not a landscape. So she lives in a house and she has created all of her land into a garden. And this is a thing, it's called foodscaping instead of landscaping. And it's basically taking all of your area that you live, that surrounds your home, and growing food there. And she was talking about how a specific area has, where we might see like a little bed around a tree that has flowers, or just, ground cover or something like that. She's growing wheat. And she said a year ago, people would look at this and say, oh, that's nuts. And now people are not, because we're all in this different place with it all. And so I recommend just checking out her website and her blog. She's a horticulturist, and her purpose in what she does is to help others grow food. And she's very good, and she's very funny. And she's on that list of resources. But so I just wanted to mention that there was a segue there, which I lost already, but I think you get where I was going with it. One thing I was thinking about too, that I just want to put out there, and then we'll open up for discussion, is, everybody's rethinking about how life is going to look now. A lot of schools are closed for the rest of the year, and it looks like summer camp is not happening. And I would think a lot of places, certainly around where we are. I'm in New Jersey, so we're in the epicenter. Idaho, I don't know, maybe it's not so, it varies based on your geography, but around here, it's likely that camp is not happening. And I'm thinking about opportunities to find throughout this whole effort. This morning we were talking with our son about the fact that he's not going to have an internship this summer. He's studying architecture. And this is a really important part of his trajectory, because to become licensed, you have to have so many hours, and he's going to lose out on an opportunity this summer because nobody's bringing in interns, obviously. And so we were talking about how we have to kind of look for hidden opportunities in what we're going through. There are a lot of losses that we're all dealing with. So many losses, the loss of what normal looked like and is going to be different when we come through this. Just in terms of, people's experiences, events and all kinds of things, just so many losses wrapped up in this. And I think that hidden in all of this chaos are sort of camouflaged opportunities. And I think we need to look for them. I think we need to think forward and sort of let go of what our expected path once looked like, and look for, I guess, new trailheads that are waiting to be discovered. And so in thinking along those lines, I'm thinking about what can we offer for kids for summer activities. And I'm a big proponent, I'm a big believer in that everything can be taught through the garden, every subject. And when I taught, that was the case. I mean, whenever we did whether it was another environmental ed topic or if it was focusing on gardening, I mean, you could integrate anything in through the garden, through the context of a garden. And given where, you know, this mindset that many adults are in terms of growing our own food, becoming more self-reliant, sustainability, you know, food security, and all of that, I think that maybe there's an opportunity here to bring kids into the fold going forward with regard to making this whole community gardening idea a learning experience for kids in its own way. We don't want to, it wouldn't be the same kind of, you know, structure of like what a camp experience would be. I think it would be more community based, but I just wanted to put that out there as something that I've been thinking about, and I think it might just be an opportunity in disguise to think about with, you know, for our kids in terms of, you know, what they're going to do and where they're going to be and what we want to.
I think though, I think when you bring in kids to it, you know, like mine are 13 and 14, and they'd rather play on their devices, aside from the fact that they'd probably rather be surfing or swimming right now. But, you know, it's got to be relevant. Like, you know, for your son, he's in architecture, I'm not sure of age, so probably 22 maybe. 20, yeah. And so same thing, like architecture, I mean, my boyfriend's an architect, and, you know, so I've been involved with a lot of architectural, my background's in fashion design, so spatial stuff is fascinating. But, you know, I think there's very much a think outside the square, so I think you're right. But everything's got to be relevant for the children. So when they're really small, yes, you can get them in the garden, but it's very physical, you know. And so how do you, I don't know if it's entirely the idea is one thing, but then how it's executed is another, right? So if it was normal out there, then everyone would be in the garden. Like the whole idea of community gardens isn't like one person goes and then another person goes, because that's an issue from spreading COVID-19, you know, right? If it's still around, you can't have a community garden where everyone goes and grabs the same pitchfork, you know, like just after the other person left. Like, how are you going to be able to operate a community garden? Like, if the kids are all coming together to learn about gardening, you know, why are they there and what's the purpose? If they're going to sit online and discuss it, you know, how does that work? Like, where's the parents' place in this? I mean, generally parents send their children to summer camp so they can keep working, right? So, you know, it's kind of like how are you going to bring that together? What's relevant for the children? What does it look like? And it can't look like how it's ever looked before. You know, it has to look really, really different.
It absolutely will. You know, there's no question, and that's something, I mean, that you bring up a good point, of course, that this is not going to look like anything we've done before. And because of the limitations, you know, that has to all be taken into account if we were to, you know, create some opportunity in this vein. But, you know, again, it was an idea of you know, whether it's through families or, you know, however we set this up, was just to think about bringing the kids into the fold in some capacity. And it's not going to be anything like we recognize to be typical, because this is so atypical. You know, it will look different depending on ages and stages and developmental readiness and, you know, and all of that. And all of this, I have no doubt can be fleshed out, because there are a ton of resources out there on gardening with kids. And I think it would just be a means of adapting them and accommodating our circumstances. But the idea being that, you know, as we are figuring this out as adults from a very serious perspective, which is all about, you know, sustaining ourselves, I think that our kids are watching all of this unfold, you know, and I think that there's been so much discussion about what kids are learning, or I should say what kids aren't learning during this pandemic. You know, they are missing X, Y, and Z because they're not in school and it's not normal and there's so much you can do online, and everybody's very up in arms about so much of what is being lost with regard to learning. And there's no doubt that that's occurring, but there's an awful lot that they are learning. They're learning
Exactly.
by watching us. They are learning by, they are learning some really difficult life lessons by just watching this unfold and watching adults react to it, from everywhere from their parents to government leaders. And so given that, and given that we know that they're little sponges, I just think bringing them into the fold on some level, in some way, as we move forward with this, is something to give thought to. So I just wanted to put that out there. And yes, there's a lot to consider, and logistically it's very different from anything we've ever done. But
I think, yeah, but I think that the key is like, it's always got to come back to the objective, you know? So if the objective is to keep them busy during the school holidays, then, you know, that's a different objective, right? If the objective is to enable a community to come together, I mean, you know, so even if you were to solve this problem, one, we have to get the right question. We have to be really, really careful what the purpose is and the objective is. And I think as well, like, there's a really awesome opportunity, like I was talking about before, even in, you know, one, you've got to be close to each other. Two, there's got to be some parameters around food sharing, right? And then, so if you were to do it, say, just in New Jersey, is finding different people and who's got like a green thumb for growing lettuces, you know, who's got the green thumb for growing cabbage, you know, it's like, that's where the community could come together with purpose, you know. So the purpose is to be able to, you know, in your own home, if you're still in lockdown or you're keeping the social distancing, like, how can you create, you know, instead of creating, trying to create all different vegetables, you know what I mean, or all different fruits, like, why not sort of find who are the people within the community who have that that knowledge, and then it might be, hey, look, okay, I reckon I could grow tomatoes, you know, like, you know, I've never grown tomatoes before, but someone else has got some plants, or, you know, we can pick them up and this other person can show me how to do it, so I'm going to do the tomatoes. Does that make sense? Like, that's where you could kind of really pull the community together, because then there's already a, like, okay, you know, such and such hasn't grown tomatoes before, but Joe over here, he's really good at growing tomatoes, so we're going to buddy those two up, you know. And, you know, so the person who's good at growing tomatoes grows the tomatoes, but they're working with the person who's not so good at it, you know. Right. And then someone else goes, hey, look, I'm really good in this space. So I think, you know, like, from an online, being able to create more food within the community, if that's the objective, and that's, you know, like, then put that objective together as adults. And I think, you know, like, the children, if you're going to ask the children about how they feel things should go, like, ask them, like, because really they're usually pretty onto it. And like I said, it needs to be age specific, like, you know, give them something. If they haven't got anything to do, they'll soon learn. I mean, they're all on freaking Minecraft building gardens on there, you know, and building houses, you know. So I bet they've got some pretty cool ideas, you know,
I have no doubt
between them of, and then how do we facilitate them to create it? Do you know what I mean? Like, my boys this weekend built a whole bathroom vanity, and, you know, out of bits of wood that we've got down the place and I'd already picked up. Do you know what I mean? Like, so everything's possible, but it has to be facilitated, and it has to be relevant to what, if the kids are going to understand what they want to do, and then really what you're trying to create as a community on the whole. So yeah, I agree, people they're watching us, but they're also, like, from 13 and up, they're watching each other.
Yeah, no, I think you delineated some really important points, which are essential, which is clarify our goals, especially, I mean, because this is a whole different context that we're in. And I love the idea of asking kids. I mean, I think that we too seldom get their input on things, and I think, you know, learning should revolve around children's curiosity, and it, again, too seldom it doesn't. So, you know, all of these things we would bring into the mix to, you know, move forward with whatever it is that we would construct. And that actually is, you know, what you were discussing brings me, is like a good segue into where I just wanted to go with a question I wanted to put out there, and we can just, you know, continue dialoguing about this. In my community, we're trying to get this going. It's where I live, we have a pretty green-minded, progressive community. We were one of the first communities in the state of New Jersey to take on certain green initiatives, and we did it well. And the fact that we don't have a community garden is kind of glaring. It's almost, you know, like it's really missing from what we're doing. And it's something I've been trying to push forward for over a year, and I just can't seem to, it just doesn't, I haven't found people who share this as a priority until recently. And so unfortunately or unfortunately, these circumstances have really driven this idea home, and people are now listening more and realizing, you know, the importance of this. And this isn't, you know, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I mean, this is just a wheel. This is just rolling into the spotlight because of the circumstances that we're under. And so we had a meeting last night in which I discussed this at length. And the takeaway is really that, you know, we've got all the pieces in place to do this. We have all the resources. We have the know-how, all of that. What we don't have, and this is what I want to put out there to you, because it's a plea for help and with whatever knowledge you might have to share. We need a virtual platform to organize ourselves through, so that we can connect, so that we can communicate all of this information, so that we can organize our efforts and support each other. And through that, we would be able to cover all of those bases that you highlighted well, Rochelle, and figure out how to do this from a distance, how to take into consideration all of the restrictions that we're under, that we need to obviously continue to live by until we don't know when. And so for us, the missing piece is that virtual platform in which to function and to try to, you know, to gather ourselves. And Facebook is not the right thing. Zoom is not the right thing. And I'm wondering if anybody has experience with this and could offer suggestions as to how we can find that missing piece so that we can move forward with this idea. So I was just putting that out there, and you know, if you want to email me, that's fine. If you want to talk about that more here, if it's relevant for you, we can certainly do that. Or if you would rather shift gears and talk about something else with the remaining time here, I'm open to that. But at this point, I sort of put out there all that I wanted to share with you today, and I'm just open to wherever you'd like to go with the time remaining this evening. So open to your thoughts.
Wendy, you're just talking about in general, just getting the word out more about helping each other and having this talk?
Oh, no. So I was talking.
Idea. Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
I mean, or just the general idea.
So the idea of how to create a community garden. Okay. So it would be, you know, including everyone in the community to bring people on board, to communicate the idea in general. All
right. I think a lot of communities have tried to do it. I know in my own community, they've tried to do it, but then they like forgot water. You know, they just opened up a field, but then like, oh,
no water source.
Yeah, no water source.
That's a problem.
I think they meant well. They just didn't think it all the way through. But
right. Well, we're going on. We have all the pieces in place and everything that we would need in order to launch this. It's just a matter of connecting everybody.
Right.
So I didn't know if anybody might have experience with that.
Why wouldn't you use a Facebook group?
Because we want it to be interactive, and I don't think with Facebook you can be in terms of. So if we were to have
You can.
A group would do that.
Yeah,
Everyone
you just have to have it not have the
moderator.
settings that shuts it down. You just have to have that people can post whatever they like.
So this would not be only posting. It would be something like this where we could actually have a discussion and people could present and people could talk. So it's not just through posts. It's through
But it would be a
virtual interaction like
depository.
this.
So it would be a place that you're communicating, and then you just put out you just say, hey, we're going to have a Zoom meeting. And then, other people can do a live if they only want to just talk, and then other people are going to comment later. If it's one person talking, then anyone can do a live on the particular group. And then, you just put out that hey, we want to have a chat on the Zoom, and then you record it, and then you post it in the Facebook, that one group. So you use it as one place to operate everything. If you don't want to use Facebook, then you can use Google, but not a lot of people use Google. So I don't know, I've done a lot in learning, facilitating people, all around New Zealand and the world. So on e-learning, e-platforms. And realistically, the best place is to operate in the place that everyone is, right? So if a lot of people are in Facebook, it's just really easy for them to become a part of that group. If you don't operate there, we've had a group on WhatsApp, as another place, but it's really only a messenger space. So yeah, Facebook groups is pretty much your best place to be operating something like that.
For some reason, the consensus was last night that Zoom was not the right platform for this. Not really sure why. I guess my question that's coming to mind with all of the hacking that's going on now, is it safe through Facebook to provide a Zoom link to gather?
It is, because it's changed. Oh, sorry, Camille. No,
it's okay. Anyway, I was just going to say, it's a lot safer. You should not ever post your open link on Facebook. But if you said register to get it, or like I make people register to get it so I know everyone that's there. Mm-hmm. And you can also set up your security inside of Zoom to knock people off, and so that people don't have sharing rights. Mm-hmm. You can stop interactions between people so they can't harass each other. There's lots you can do in Zoom. And I think Zoom is actually kind of stepping up to the challenge of the security issues. I think they're really stepping up their game. I still use it for everything. I just make people register to get the link. And the smart thing to do is literally the link.
Yeah, and literally this week, they changed it. They changed it last Monday, or 2 Mondays ago, I can't remember, but anyway, they changed it entirely because of the issues of people jumping on to open links. So now you have to, people come into the waiting room, and then you have to let them in. So if you don't know who they are, then then don't let them in, right? So it is a lot better than it used to be. And you can have a different number for each time. So you don't have to have the same number every time. And then, if you've got a different number every time, then, people aren't going back to, or people haven't got time to sort of go through, to do that. So yeah, Zoom is a pretty safe space. So it just might be open to using it and how to use it. And same with your Facebook groups. You've got to have a moderator on it. Like if people are posting and are out to make it hell, then they'll be out to make it hell, and then you just remove them from the group. Have a little chat and go, no, matey, that's not okay. So your group needs to be private, and it needs to be moderated.
Mhm.
And just like anything, like people can come to you know, you think of, I always say, don't think of a platform as the platform. Think of like how you want, you'd normally come together, right? So you'd normally come together and everyone would go to the local hall, right? And at the moment they can't go to the local hall. Well, it's actually a lot easier to get rid of that idiot who keeps turning up and kiboshes the meeting, you know, on Zoom than it is when they come to the community hall, right? So, yeah.
So I'll revisit this with our committee then. I know that there were some people who are already doing research on this, and for some reason we're feeling this was not the platform, but I'll share with what you shared with me, and we'll see if we can move this forward. So thanks for your.
Yeah, you can also do Google Hangouts.
Okay.
But Zoom's better.
Yeah, Google Hangout doesn't always work.
Nah.
In my experience. So where would you like to take this conversation in the remaining minutes we have here? You know.
I'd like to know a little bit about Al. Where are you at? What are you doing? You've like, yeah.
Rochelle, I am up here in northern New Jersey. We started, 2 weeks ago, Christine? We started from seeds, germinating seeds. We have a ton of cucumbers, you know, sprouts already coming through. Cucumber, rosemary, eggplant. We have some small sprouts of eggplant, tomato, some small sprouts of tomato. I ordered a bunch of I ordered broccoli, artichokes. We built 2 raised beds, 8 foot by like 3.5, 4 feet.
Nice.
Just waiting on topsoil to be delivered for it. And I've been looking up at videos to try and learn. This is my first time doing it. I've never done this before. And, you know,
Cool.
Excited about it and looking to eat healthier and to also supplement, you know, what's going on today. You know, but I like to learn more about the microgreens because I see you just doing some quick research, that it's like 8 days they germinate, and then like some of them 12 to 14 days they're fully mature. Is that right? So
Yeah.
that's a very quick process.
Yeah.
Wow. And from the webinar that I saw with Penn State, you could actually grow a lot of those just in like takeout trays and small like Tupperware containers.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, I've been like hunting through my house like a mad woman for anything that is, because I just want to grow as much as I possibly can. So besides all the pots that I have, I'm looking to just anything that's a vessel that I want to grow in. And yeah, those containers are like little mini greenhouses, really. So that's a good thing. And yeah, what's a real bummer for me is that almost a year ago I learned that I have Lyme disease. And hi, Dave. And so I can't dig in the dirt right now until I'm in a better place. I'm much better than I was, but I'm just, you know, still getting through this. And it's a real loss for me because like the garden is my sanctuary. So what I'm doing is just doing everything in containers on our deck, so that I, you know, just to protect myself. So I feel very limited in what I'd normally be doing because we do have a like 10 by 10 foot area with raised beds, and I can't go out there right now. And Mitch can, my husband can, but still, you know, it's kind of it's like my thing. So that's why I'm a mad woman looking for containers, because I'm just trying to find everything I can grow something in. And there won't be any room to do anything else on the deck, even walk when I'm done, but that's okay because it's like we need that stuff to grow. So anyway, those containers are great. And there's just lots you can probably find in your own basement, wherever that can serve as a container. So,
hey Al, if you're new to this too, it's quite useful to understand like how much nutrition you can get out of certain things. So seeds are really fascinating. So yes, you've got, you know, this amazing amount of nutrition in these little legumes that are growing, or whatever that's growing. But the other side of it is, even if you're getting get seeds, and then make sure you activate them. So activating your seeds within your food also increases the nutrient dense and also your ability to absorb it. So I think, you know, growing our food's one thing, understanding like how to get more nutrition out of less is another one, you know, so that, yeah, then you're not having to grow as much. Have to think about.
Thanks for that. That's very interesting.
What do you mean by activating?
The seeds,
Mm-hmm.
I often just lightly toast them. So just quickly heat them up, and then they open up. I just chuck them in a frying pan and toast them. So yeah, then they're activated.
So, and you're talking about seeds that you're going to eat, or seeds you're going to plant?
No, seeds I'm going to eat.
That's what I thought. Okay. So I thought it was,
Sorry.
no, I thought it was something that you activate them before you plant them, that it does something to the seed.
No. I'm talking about like when you buy, say, sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. I was just talking about like how to make sure that whatever you're growing,
Right.
or whatever you're eating, when you want it, because the whole objective here is to be able to have more food, isn't it? You know, like available to you. So another side of it is also understanding how to get the most out of your plants, how to get the most out of what you've got. So that was what I was bringing up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So that's interesting, because there's such a, you know, there's a lot of talk about raw anything being better. And so I buy raw pumpkin seeds and raw sunflower seeds because I think that's better. But then I wind up toasting them because they seem easier to eat. Not always, but sometimes. And you're saying that's actually better than eating them in their raw state. So that's a win-win, because they taste better too.
I know.
Like a little crunch.
I agree.
That's neat. Thanks for.
That's why I toast them too. They taste way better.
I used pumpkin seeds in a spaghetti squash casserole the other night, and they were raw, and it felt like, you know, I had left the spaghetti squash seeds in the casserole, but it wasn't. It was the pumpkin seeds, and I'm like, should have toasted these. They were just a little too chewy. So I mean, that's the right thing.
So you want to activate them?
Yeah. Good to know.
Folks, sorry, I have to go. Good seeing you all. Thank you, Wendy, for the links.
Thanks, you.
And Camille for setting things up. Oh, wait.
It's fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And it was nice to meet you.
Yes, nice meeting you, Rochelle.
New Zealand.
Yeah, down under. God bless.
We're going to tell you our next steps because we're so excited. We check on these plants every day like they're our children.
It's fun, eh? I love growing. It's like you go out and say, oh, stop watching it grow.
Yeah, the asparagus isn't working too well right now, but we'll get through that. We'll see.
Yeah. I will connect with me or something on Facebook, and show us your pictures, show us your food porn.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
Really
my pleasure.
Thanks for hosting.
Thanks for coming on. It was good to see you. Be well.
Ciao. Bye.
All right.
Wendy, before we wrap up, do you want to do another call in 2 weeks, or?
That's what I was going to ask, and I was hoping to catch Al before he left because I wanted them to hear this, but I'll catch up with them afterwards. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we should try to build momentum, or because there were I expected more people this week based on the people who